What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another market update. This time for vintage, loose, complete action figures. I've got a few vehicles in here as well, and I've got a really good assortment in this batch. Some buy it nows, some auctions, everything from early figures to the Ewoks and Droids lines. Lots from those particular lines. I don't really cover those that much just because I don't collect them, but there are some cool figures and some last 17 as well. So let's go ahead and dig in. The first one is always a tough to find dark brown hair Luke Farm Boy, and this one was certainly not perfect. It looks like he's got some kind of spotting to the face there and some nicks and things like that on the arms. So this is probably at best like a 75 grade, but it is the dark brown haired version, and that's a tougher one to find. I was talking to that one time on Facebook or on YouTube, and he's got a really good Luke Farm Boy collection, Luke collection in general, Luke Bespins, Luke Jedis. He mentioned that this one appeared on the 41 back Empire Strikes Back card, and he said he also has one mint on card on the Transition Return of the Jedi free Neonum offer. So it appeared on a few card backs. They were tough to find, though. They just didn't appear that much. So it's a very dark brown haired color to that Farm Boy. This one sold for $152.50. I've seen high grade examples sell for over $600. So it's just a particular hair color that doesn't pop up that much, and when they do, people tend to buy them. But even in this condition, this one still sold for $152.50, and I think given the condition issues, that was a very fair price. Here was a blue Snags with very obvious blue snaggletooth here. It seems to have stayed out in the sun too long because his chest is really burned. It's a highly discolored version of blue Snags. It's a shame because the boots and the belt and everything look really clean. One little scuff on his wrist there, but in general, this would have graded very high, I think, if not for the discoloration. So because of that discoloration, the grading companies are very, very strict on blue snaggletooth. And again, I'm not saying you want to grade this, but I'm just trying to give you kind of the impetus to kind of really look at the photos and decide, okay, what kind of grade is this in and what's a fair price? This one sold for $405.95, which is probably about right, quite honestly. This is at best like a 70 or 75 grade. Higher grade examples will set you back double that these days pretty easily. It's gotten really, really expensive. Ungraded without the discoloration, with the same kind of condition to these boots and to his belt buckle and hands and things like that, you're probably talking at least $600. That would be my guess, if not higher than that. But that one did obviously have the discoloration. Here was the radio-controlled Sandcrawler, which we know is really expensive. We documented one that was not complete. It was missing, I think, the battery cover, and I think it was also missing the remote control. And this one included a box, the instruction manual, the used sticker sheet, the remote control. It was advertised as complete with a little ladder. That's always missing as well. That one sold in an auction, only one bid, but $1,300. So very, very clean condition. High grade sealed examples, they're going to set you back like $8,000. I mean, it's just crazy how expensive this particular vehicle is, but it is certainly an iconic one and a really cool item. So $1,300 on that one. I got some 12-inch figures that sold. Some of them were included the box. They were kind of unused contents. And then I've also got a Boba Fett that was mint complete without the box. So first, let's go through these. These are all 100% complete, original, and unused contents. So you can see there, they've been opened, but are unused contents with the little wrap still around the R2-D2. This one sold in an auction for $520 on 30 bids. The same seller also had the Luke Skywalker, and this one was still attached, obviously. Box was pretty clean condition as well. So $510 on that one. Same seller also had the Stormtrooper that was still attached inside the box. So all of these would be like unused contents, qualified grade, or loose grading with collector archive services with the box. But this one sold for $433. Next up is that Boba Fett. This was the 12-inch and advertised as complete. This one looked to be in really great condition overall. We just documented in a loose graded video one that was loose graded by CAS that sold for insane money, over $1,000. I don't remember the exact number, 1,200, somewhere in that ballpark. This one was loose complete, but it's certainly in pretty good shape overall. And that one sold down in Australia in a buy it now situation for $750, which is $474 US dollars. That's a really good price if you ask me. Usually these loose complete in this kind of condition will set you back $600 to $800 pretty easily. So I thought that was a really good deal on that one. Next up is the Droid Factory R2-D2. I don't know why, but I always pick this one for my loose complete videos. Maybe because they're so tricky to kind of figure out what the grade is on them. And I feel like the disparity in price between a loose complete ungraded one versus a loose graded high grade one is so large right now that you can probably get one yourself and loose grade it with like collector archive services and roll the dice and see how you do. This one sold, it was listed for $225. The best offer accepted on that was $195. Now, AFA 80 or 85 examples, they can set you back, $500 to $600 really easily, if not higher than that. AFA 85s can go as high as $800. So to me, there's such a wide price delta there that why not buy 2 or 3 of them, send them into grading and see what you get. Because they're tough to grade because the sticker came inside the Droid Factory on an unused sticker sheet, and so you were kind of dependent on people putting them on the figure correctly, and sometimes they're not centered correctly, or the sticker's starting to peel off, and you got to be careful about glued stickers. Maybe they start to peel over time and then somebody kind of modifies it after the fact with glue. So it is a tricky figure to get ungraded, but there is opportunity there, I think, to grade them yourself instead of paying the outrageous already graded prices. Next up is the Rebo Band. This one was not perfect, obviously. The limbs on Max Rebo had discolored, and the head, which is common. I mean, that's a common problem for the Max Rebo Band, but nice looking set there. That one sold for $250, and I found 2 or 3 other data points that were between $210 and $265. So it's a fairly narrow band where they're loose complete in like 75, 80 grade condition. To get one of those if you wanted to get one just for your shelf. Next up, be careful on this one though, because there are repro accessories for the microphones and the flute. So be careful that you buy those that they're not repro, because there are a lot of fakes rolling around out there. Next up, let's go through the Ewoks cartoon line. Now, I didn't get every figure, but I found a number of different data points that are recent that sold. First is King Gornish, nice looking figure. I love that eye patch. I love the character designs of these particular figures. Obviously at Hakes there is a unproduced kind of prototype that's AFA graded that's at auction right now, but I love the way the figures look. It kind of harkens back to comics and obviously the cartoon, but I don't have any personally. I think they're cool to look at though. This one sold for about $110. The Dulux Shaman, I found a couple of examples that sold for them. I like his eyes there. The Dulux Shaman has been using way too much of Logray's Medicine Man kind of medicine. He's got some crazy eyes there. Pretty cool figure though. That one sold for $125. And then here was another one that sold that included the coin. And that one sold for $168.55. So tight price range there. $125 without the coin, $168.55 with the coin. And same seller also had the Dulux Scout with the coin. That one sold for $172.87. And then we got some Droids figures that sold. First is Jan Tosh, loose complete, and it looked to be in pretty clean condition. Be careful on the skin for Jan Tosh because it scratches really easily. You can see one scratch on his neck there as well as on his head. There's some kind of spots there, but overall a fairly clean figure. $130 on him. And then obviously Sice From, we all know how expensive he is. It seems like there's no slowdown in how expensive he is. In auctions they can sell for as low as maybe $600 to $650. This one sold in a buy it now for $820. So it's a pretty wide range of prices still for this figure, but he's super expensive, super expensive. Loose graded, I mean, they're going for over $1,000 now. Mint on card, I've seen as high as $1,800 to $2,000. So it's just not many of them out there, and they still command big prices. And then here is Thal Jobin. This is a loose complete one. This one sold for $145.77 in an auction. 17 bids on him. Here is Uncle Gundy. What is it about Uncle Gundy lately? There's been a lot of high prices on him. There was an AFA graded example, AFA 85, I believe, that sold for about $265. Well, this loose complete example sold in an auction for $234.50. 59 bids, so lots of auction, action on him. So I don't know what it is, but Uncle Gundy has definitely got his fans, and Uncle Gundy and I as I like to say, are kindred spirits. We have the same torso and face. So I love it, though. He's a cool-looking figure. Next up, I got several different Yak Faces that all sold. I think I got 4 of them here that all sold. The first one was in a buy it now situation, best offer accepted. It was listed for $650 with $9.85 shipping. It sold for $600. So that one sold for $600, and he looked pretty clean. No scuffs on the hand or the feet, and the torso doesn't look like it's discolored at all there. Maybe one little spot on the torso, but very, very clean. Probably an 80 plus or 85 grade condition. This one was not as good a condition. It had some spots on the hand. That's something you really got to be careful about. On both hands, he's got color rub there, so be careful on that one. And he has the color discoloration on the torso. So really look to compare the torso versus the sleeves on Yak Face before you buy. This one sold for 375 pounds, which is $457. So that's appropriately discounted relative to this one that was definitely in better condition, that sold for $600. And then here is the third one. This one also had a spot on the hand, unfortunately, and some rubs on the feet. So those are the spots to look out for. Maybe slight discoloration to the tunic, and also a scratch on his sleeve there. That one sold for $585.93 in an auction. So somebody overbid on this one, I think. This one's probably worth more like this one that sold in the UK to me. That sold for $457. This one sold in the US for $586. Versus this one that was a buy it now situation for $600. So to me, of the 3 so far, this one was the best buy at $600. And this one to me is an overpay, just given the issues with it on the paint. And then this one also did sell for $600. This one obviously also had the discoloration to the tunic. Hands maybe cleaner than the last 2, but not nearly as clean as the first one. So again, just don't overbid on him. There are a lot of them out there. I know in the U.S. there's a temptation to overbid on Yak Face, but there are a lot out there. Even if you got to ship one from the U.K., just factor that into your bidding. But they pop up regularly enough. All these sold in the last 5 days. So it's not like it's super rare. It's kind of a fake holy grail, if you ask me. It's a nice figure, don't get me wrong. And it's an expensive figure. But don't overpay for it, because they come up so regularly on eBay that there's no need to overpay for it. Now, do I think it's worth paying $600 for a near mint plus example like this one? Probably in this market, yeah. AFA graded examples are $800 to $1,000 now, so they've really gone up. But I just wouldn't overpay for examples that have obvious scratching and color issues, torso discoloration, paint scratches to the boots and hands. And, just be careful about how much you pay on that one. And then finally, we had the Power of the Force skiff, the Tatooine skiff. This one was mint complete, and obviously the parts were either still sealed or they were kind of sealed after the fact. I'm not sure, but it looked really, really clean. It was a very, very clean example on that one. And that one sold down in Australia for 1,025 Australian dollars, which is 648 US dollars. That was a good deal. Just given in the U.S., even after you factor in shipping on this one from Australia, it was about $700. Whereas in the U.S., they can sell for $800 to $900 very regularly if they're loose, complete, and in really good condition. So I thought this was a particularly good deal in an auction. 26 bids. That one closed on October 22nd. So anyway, just some more data for those of you out there looking at. Try and pick and choose different items, different toy lines within the vintage Kenner run, the 12-inch, the Ewoks, the Droids. Last 17 figures, just to kind of give you an idea, a snapshot of what's going on in the market right now. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.